Hello and welcome to the CCL week 1 of the last chance qualifier, but it is day 2, and listen, day 2, you always know, it gets crazier on day 2. Tiff, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling insane right now because I got to see a lot of the action from yesterday. It was the first day of the last chance qualifiers, and just coming into the postseason, this is where all the action is about to unfold as these schools are getting into that bloodbath because they want to make playoffs, right? That is exactly what they came here for. They do not want their season to be over, and this is where it starts.
Oh yeah, big time, and this is only round 1, so they're going to need to win a few series against a few teams that are going to be just as hungry as them if they want to make it out and make it into the final playoffs. I mean, that's what this is all about. Let's go ahead and take a look at these squads head-to-head that we're going to be taking a look at. Sacred Heart Esports going up against UBuffalo Esports, and I mean, listen, both of these squads coming in tonight, as we stated, round 1, and they've got a long way to go to qualify, but I mean, listen, both of them have very, very high aspirations to get through.
High aspirations indeed. Let's break it down with Sacred Heart Esports, currently 6-13 for their season record in stage 2 in particular. They're going up 3-8. Their hard points between UBuffalo and Sacred Heart Esports are pretty much tied up here. Search and Destroy relatively close, and then Control equally close as well. But this is where it's going to get interesting because I feel like Sacred Heart is a little bit stronger on certain maps as opposed to others, whereas the same with UBuffalo. But UBuffalo is tier 4 right now, and Sacred Heart Esports was categorized in tier 3, and you're correct. This is that round 1 matchup. They're going to have 2 more matches after this to see if they can get a spot in the playoffs.
I mean, if anything, that just tells me that Sacred Hearts might be a little bit underrated coming into this matchup. So let's go ahead and take a look at the home roster in Sacred Heart Esports. I mean, they are going to be coming into today, and they are looking to upset some people for sure. We've got Faded, Foolish, we've got JFK, and we've got Fear. I mean, this squad of 4, I mean, they're going to be looking to definitely put a hurtin' on this UBuffalo roster all day long.
To be fair, we have a player on this team named Fear. I'm already a little nervous. If you've got Fear, Faded, and Foolish, we got triple Fs. I'm pretty scared right now. Faded seems to be one of the stronger players on this team, maybe a little bit more experienced. He's got that 1.42 hardpoint KD and a 1.5 in Search and Destroy. So I'm really looking to Faded to kind of lead this team and see where this is going to go.
All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at the University of Buffalo Esports. As I mean, this roster coming in as well. I mean, they've got the better record, so you got to feel that they're going to feel a little bit more confident. So this squad, Rigatoni, Doofenshmirtz, my goodness, Clickies, and N4. I mean, this squad right here, they are definitely going to be looking to make some waves. I mean, their names make waves by themselves. So now let's see if they can make some waves on the playing field.
Make some waves indeed. I mean, this team is coming off a really great last week in the preseason, or not necessarily the preseason, in stage 2. They had some strong matchups and they had some victories before they came into the playoffs. So I'm excited to see what they are going to do here right now. But they got to make it to the playoffs first. And if you got a name like Rigatoni, I'm feeling really noodly about it. Look, I'm gonna stop now. I'm gonna stop, but I like it.
I mean, listen, if your name's Rigatoni, you're probably gonna bring a little bit of sauce to the table. So that's what I want to see today. Is if UBuffalo are gonna have a little something extra for us. We gonna a little something, if you will. Who knows? We gonna see. But I mean, either way, listen, as we stated, this is round 1. This matchup right here, it is win or go home. I mean, it's now or never. And anytime it's now or never, you are going to see teams pulling out all the stops. They're going to be, so focused on these map picks. These map bans are going to be so crucial because it is now or you go home. Simple as that. I mean, none of these squads want to see their season end with this matchup right here. So, let's see if they can fight on and who's going to be able to, live on to see another day.
Yeah, and that's the main goal here. They need to live on to see another day. Because this is only round 1, they are going to be met with another matchup as soon as they finish here. And even then, they're going to have to crawl, basically, to get to the playoffs. Because only one team is going to survive this match series here before they can get to the playoffs. And I don't believe that either of these teams went to the playoffs last year for the Cold War season. So this may be their very well first time making the playoffs room. And I think let's go ahead and see what that map series is going to look like that you mentioned, because you're right. A lot of these teams will veto and try to finagle this map series to benefit them. We're going to kick it off with that Berlin hardpoint. Map number 2 is going to be Search and Destroy on Berlin, and then we have a triple dose of Tuscan. Tuscan Control, Tuscan Hardpoint, and that Tuscan Search and Destroy, which I think this is really strong. I know we were chatting about this before the map. I know that Sacred Heart Esports had a tough week last week. They did lose on Berlin Hardpoint to Army West Point. And as you can see, Berlin Hardpoint is map number 1. So I'm starting to think that UBuffalo Esports was like, hey, I'm stronger on Berlin. You're a little weaker, Sacred Heart Esports, so let's go ahead and finesse this. Because Sacred Heart Esports, surprisingly to me, is stronger on Tuscan and the form of Hardpoint and Search and Destroy. Look at the back half of the map. They just got to survive till games 4 and 5 where they're stronger.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, both of these squads coming in only having 2 wins each in Control. So, I mean, that middle map at Tuscan Control can really go either way. So all I got to say is even if Sacred Heart find themselves down 0-2 in the series heading into that Tuscan Control, this series is not over, ladies and gentlemen. It can turn on its head very, very quickly, as Spider Tiff mentioned. I mean, this is a game of momentum. Things can change up so quickly. Control is known as the turn mode for a reason. It can turn the tides of your entire series. We've seen plenty of reverse sweeps happen this season. And I mean, at the end of the day, this is the last chance qualifier. If a reverse sweep doesn't happen in the last chance qualifier, I mean, come on. Like, where's the passion? Like, that's the definition of passion, is a reverse sweep.
I mean, you said it best. Where is the passion? Well, it is here right now. Day 2 of the first week of Last Chance qualifiers on the College COD Bravo channel. And I'm excited to see what these teams are going to bring here in map number 1, Berlin Hardpoint. It's going to start off strong. It's going to start off aggressive. And I'm just excited to see what happens.
Oh, yeah, big time. I mean, here we go. Let's see if UBuffalo are going to be able to come out strong. I know that's what they're going to be looking to do in 4, taking out. Trying to take over the side lanes, but guess what? He's going to get taken out swiftly. Rigatoni now is going to be able to lock things down for UBuffalo. They're getting some good time here, but the spawns have flipped. Sacred Heart trying to push these things and flip things around.
Yeah, definitely. UBuffalo trying to get as much time on this early P1 as they can, and they seem to be making their way through it. We got about 25 seconds left, and UBuffalo has held the majority of the time here on P1 with Sacred Heart not able to do anything. So at this point, it's like, do you cut your losses and start rotating around for P2? But you can see UBuffalo is already reading that mindset.
Big time. It's going to be Dr. Doofenshmirtz. It's going to need to pick up this big rotational kill. He's able to get one, and with the help of Clickies, they're able to take out both players, and now JFK is going to be the lone player over here for Sacred Hearts to contest, but he's going to go down, and this mailroom is going to be completely controlled by UBuffalo. An absolutely perfect rotation after getting all the time on old. Now they're going to be getting new, and guess what? It's going to be all up to Foolish trying to burst through the doors, make things happen. He's able to get 2, trying to pre-fire for the 3rd. Is able to understand exactly where he's at, but saying, you know what, let me just go ahead and get this time for my team, as guess what, big old retake from UBuffalo is about to come in heavily.
Love that Sacred Heart is able to get some time here in on P2, but the break comes in and UBuffalo Esports said, no, thank you. I'm going to own this. I was going to say I was a little worried watching that rotation and the hold on P2 is Sacred Heart was really all in that area. They were just kind of congregated in the mailroom. It's like no one is watching mid, so that break is going to come through and UBuffalo is just going to soak up all the time that they can get. But look at the rotation. They're already going in for that 20-second rotation, leaving Rigatoni there alone. Now, Sacred Esports trying to get some scrap time.
Yeah, and I mean, that's about all they're going to be able to get. UBuffalo have played this one extremely great, and now they've got all the rotations, and I mean, this is just going to be a problem for Sacred Heart. This is going to be a bunch of points heading over, unless they're going to be able to do something immaculate. And I mean, listen, UBuffalo shutting it down. The whole kill feed's going white. Doofenshmirtz, Rigatoni. I mean, listen, I'm going to have some fun saying these names this cast. They're up by 60 right now, and I mean, they're not looking back.
They're definitely not looking back. Sacred Heart Esports, I would say that since we are on that first set of rotations that you could wait a little bit and try to read UBuffalo. But at this point, I just feel like there's a little bit of a communication error maybe on Sacred Heart Esports. They're kind of pushing all at the wrong times as the break starts to come in, but they're just getting completely overwhelmed by UBuffalo. And there is nothing they can do when they meet the likes of Fear and Faded. These people are just absolutely annihilating. We see Sacred Heart right now making that rotation over towards the train yard, but I want to see a hold. I want to see them set up and get ready to get those mid-map rotational fights.
Yeah, this is going to be rough. They're going to be down 98 after this final couple of points are going to be able to come in. And I mean, that is just a huge lead. I won't say it's an insurmountable one, but I mean, at the end of the day, the way that Sacred Heart has been playing, every single player on this squad is going to be negative, aside from Faded, who's trying to lock things down. But if you look at the other side of UBuffalo, Dr. Doofenshmirtz, 12-3 right now on a 5 spree. Can he make it a 6? Trying to get these streaks. If Dr. Doof can pick those up, it's going to be massive for this UBuffalo squad, and they've already got a 90-point advantage. So, I mean, sitting pretty is definitely the case for them right now.
Sitting pretty, definitely. You are completely correct. I mean, Dr. Doofenshmirtz is insane right now. Even if he gets the glide bomb, it's like he doesn't even need it. We're at a 100-point game, and Sacred Heart just really isn't putting things together. UBuffalo is just absolutely working this Berlin map right now. Even if Sacred Heart picks up 10 points, UBuffalo comes in and overtakes the hill and then wins all the rotational fights. Faded and Foolish are doing everything that they can to try and at least get some points on the board, but Scrap Time is not going to win you this Berlin hardpoint.
Oh, whatsoever. I mean, it's going to take much more than that. And right now, UBuffalo, they are doing much more and everything else. Clicky's able to get another big kill, currently on a 2 spree, as this squad's looking to go right back up by 100. And I mean, if they're able to get a good amount of time on this hill right here, if they can get a good amount of time on P5, that is just going to be a problem, because there's no reason, no excuse they should be able to get any more than 25 seconds on this hill whatsoever.
Yeah, Sacred Heart is spawning in relatively close to the destroyed hall, which is giving them the ability to get in there. Fear finds a nice 2-piece, followed up with Faded. They're clearing out the hill. Their ability to hold this hallway is a lot better than the rest of the entire hard points on this map. And I'm a little confused because usually a lot of people have a hard time holding this one. But the fact that they're able to set up mid-map and win those fights, definitely really great, as Faded finds a nice 5-3 right there. But you got to remember, rotations. And UBuffalo Esports has been winning all of the rotations thus far on this Berlin hardpoint. You got Faded looking to make a name for himself inside the office, but I don't think he's necessarily going to peek in. UBuffalo getting that early time in on that second set of rotations.
Yeah, they are able to get a couple of kills. That's going to be the third one coming in, and that makes it the fourth. So that's going to be a big switch up, as Sacred Heart are going to be able to take control of this hard point. Now, UBuffalo are going to be the ones needing to break in, and I mean, this lead that was up to 100, it's starting to dwindle down. It's down to 60 now, so Sacred Heart are doing a good job battling back in, but at what pace is it going to be at? Because right now, UBuffalo, they're only 90 points away from finding victory. So, I mean, right now, it's going to be extremely difficult for Sacred Hearts to get back in. They're going to need to pick up the pace.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the setup that UBuffalo is holding while they're in this P1 area. Sacred Heart isn't really coordinating on their breaks. You'll have 2 players. You cannot let it ride on the back of Faded. 7 seconds left. UBuffalo is just going to soak up the rest of it, and they've already made that rotation. So I'm looking at you, Sacred Heart. What are you going to do to get inside that mailroom and overtake this moment? You can't push one by one because you're just going to get picked off, and Faded can't carry everything. As you see, he gets fallen right there. We're going to have to make some kind of way, come in from 2 different angles, move in by 2. They're holding this insane.
And the wild thing is that there's only about a 7-kill difference in these 2 teams. And the score is 294. That just shows how much better on the map UBuffalo are playing, you know, their positioning, you know, and that's what a lot of hardpoint is about. You know, you just got to be able to read, you know, where these enemies are going to be spawning, how to rotate early, how to do all that. And guess what? UBuffalo are doing everything to a T right now, as they find themselves only 35 points away from securing victory. They got a bunch of points in that mailroom, and now as they're trying to secure these spawns yet again, my goodness, I mean, this lobby is going to be locked down.
Yeah, I mean, they gave up like 15 seconds of scrap to Sacred Heart Esports. But we said earlier, you can't win on that because UBuffalo Esports already made the rotation. They are setting up inside the lobby here to hold this for victory. They are on that win condition. They can win it here. If Sacred Esports cannot break in and rob the majority of the time from UBuffalo, this is going to be game over for Sacred Heart.
Big time. Faded does have the streaks in his back pocket. 2 players are going to be dropping on the side of UBuffalo. This might be the time for Sacred Heart to strike, but guess what? Rigatoni inside along with N4. You're going to be trying to lock this one down. But guess what? They're both going to be dropping, so Sacred Heart are going to be able to take over this point, and that means no win on this hill is going to be coming for UBuffalo, as they're going to need to set up for next. I mean, that's really the best bet if you're UBuffalo, but it looks like they're still wanting smoke. They're still wanting action. They're still wanting points, as they're going to be breaking in. And I don't know if Sacred Heart are going to be ready for this, as Clicky's is able to get another, but I mean, my goodness, the spawns are still coming in from Sacred Heart, and as long as these spawns are coming in and this one's contested, you got to move on to next. You got to get there if you're UBuffalo, and that's exactly what they're doing. They've got 3 players already rotated over, make it 4, all at the train yard faded. This is going to need to be the glide bomb of the century. He's only able to get 1. That's going to be 2 dropping, though, on the side of UBuffalo. Sacred Heart going to need to pinch this quickly because UBuffalo already have control.
They already have control indeed. You've got JFK in the back trying to secure spawns, but no Sacred Heart player is able to live back there long enough. That means it doesn't even matter if they hold this for a minimal amount of time. UBuffalo Esports needs 8 points on this hill to win. And as the kills come in, the final confrontation, can you live? Foolish finds a nice 3-piece to try and drag this thing out just a little bit longer. They're doing everything that they can to survive. We have another break coming in. If you want to win this, UBuffalo, you need to do it. But you know what? Sacred Heart Esports is living large right here in the train yard. This is insane, Rome.
Oh, big time. I mean, listen, they are fighting for their lives, hanging on by tooth and nail. 5 seconds remaining, and listen, this scrap time, they're going to be needing to fight over it because that 5 seconds of scrap time could have put them 2 seconds away from victory. My goodness, UBuffalo, they're locking down the middle. They just need to stay on it for a little bit longer. 6 more seconds, and this one is all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. But guess what? Sacred Heart, they are still fighting on this point, not trying to let this up whatsoever. Clickies is able to take out 2, getting onto the point, sliding in, picking up the sub, gonna get taken out though. 4 seconds remaining. My goodness, Dr. Doofenshmirtz gonna need to go big for this UBuffalo roster, needing to take out 1, but no, he's gonna get dropped as well. As Foolish doing anything but foolish plays on the hill. His Sacred Heart are holding on for dear life. 25 seconds remaining. Are they gonna be able to hold on? As Buffalo just need to get 3 more seconds on this point. But guess what? Sacred Heart somehow, some way are locking down the absolute hardest hard point to lock down in this map right here, right now. And now, my goodness, are they gonna rotate early? They can't afford to. They can't afford to let anyone slip in at the last second, just as they're trying to do right now. You can see N4 trying to slip in, get this time, and N4 is going to win that. Oh my goodness, but he's going to drop, get traded. Now they've got to rotate. 2:48, 2 seconds remaining. But guess who's got the hill? It's going to be UBuffalo, and they're able to win it on the rotation. Oh my goodness. I thought Sacred Hearts were able to fight back for so long, but UBuffalo hang on to win it.
How? Like, let's take a look at this final kill right here from Rigatoni. We know that UBuffalo was absolutely living, but between Faded and Foolish, they were trying so hard to put Sacred Heart Esports on the back and string that P4, P5, and then the next set of rotations hill all together. They only needed 8 points to win for UBuffalo, and the fact that they even held on that long, let's go ahead and look at these stats from that match. It was absolutely insane. For Sacred Heart Esports, I'm looking at you, Foolish. I'm looking at you, Faded. You ran on a massive streak. You had those 23 non-traded kills for Faded, 18 for Foolish. Insane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say. I mean, Sacred Hearts, they battled back, and I mean, my goodness, if you look at the kills, Sacred Heart had more kills than UBuffalo. Straight up, they just had more kills. And that means that, you know, it's not all about the slaying. It's about how your positioning on the map is. And that's why I said UBuffalo, they took advantage early. But once Sacred Heart started to get cooking, I mean, it got scary for UBuffalo there.
100% it got scary. Especially, I was really nervous during that first set of rotations, right? Especially when UBuffalo had 45 seconds coming off of Hill 1. Then they string 2 together, and it's a 100-point game by the end of P3 on the first set of rotations. It was like Sacred Heart wasn't playing, and they didn't show up till the second set of rotations, and that's when it started getting scary. Imagine if they had started off just like they had warmed up to. I think Sacred Heart could have pulled that off 100%.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, we're looking at a completely different game. I mean, listen, Sacred Heart, they were looking like a completely different team when it mattered the most. I mean, when their backs were against the wall, this squad performed. So now I want to see exactly what they're going to be able to do in the search and destroy because, listen, UBuffalo might have won, but I don't know. Sacred Hearts, they feel like they probably got the momentum right now heading into this game too, simply because UBuffalo probably felt like they were going to win that a lot easier than they did.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. They brought it down to a 50-point game, but the fact that the majority of the points that Sacred Heart had taken were when UBuffalo only needed 8 points to win. The fact is, they were literally grinding it out during the end of that. So we've got a map win on Berlin Hardpoint for UBuffalo Esports with 250 to 200. We are going to keep it up to Search and Destroy. From my understanding, it is actually going to be on Bocage and not Berlin, so apologies for this graphic here. We are going to be, oh, just kidding. It's so updated because I am magical. I have the magic roam.
Hey, shout out to production. They are on it today, man. Quick as I don't know what, snap of a finger, and the map is changed. Salute to them. Bokich, I mean, we're going to be heading there. I mean, let's go ahead and get into this one. What are you thinking about this? I mean, it's going to be a fast-paced situation. Things are going to be changing up. How are you feeling now?
So I had a lot of different aspects when it came to, you know, maybe some Berlin Search and Destroy or some Tuscan Search and Destroy, but I really do love a Bocage Search and Destroy. So with that being said, I'm really curious to see how both of these teams are going to perform on it. If it's really up close and personal, I want to note specifically with Faded and Foolish on Sacred Heart, a lot of their kills that they were able to rack up on that hard point were up close and personal. And since this Bocage Heart Search and Destroy is really up close, I'm looking at them to kind of hold the fort down.
Hey, listen, fair enough. Let's go ahead and get this thing started, as it's going to be a beep hit coming out, and this is going to get shut down immediately by Sacred Heart. They are not messing around whatsoever. 3 are going to be dropping. I mean, Rigatoni is going to be able to have the bomb at the B site. Is able to pick off, oh, not able to pick off one, as he thought he picked him off as well. Is able to turn and burn one, but is going to be dropping regardless, and Sacred Heart having a solid defensive first round.
I love when I'm able to manifest things that I say. Let's go ahead and look at this final kill by Fear as he jumps into the frame, and Rigatoni is undercooked, unfortunately, right there. We want him to get saucy, right? We want to see the sauce that Rigatoni is here to provide. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make things happen. So with that being said, Faded got 2 of those kills and Fear got 2 of those kills. I know I called Foolish, but let's look at the third F of this team, Fear. Instilling fear in the hearts of the UBuffalo Esports team.
Yeah, let's see what they're going to be able to do. Is they're going to be going toward A this time, which in my opinion, definitely still going to be the favored site, even though that site did switch up a bunch. So right now, Foolish, bomb in hand. She's going to be creeping around, waiting. So many players, though. All around Grandma's as Rigatoni is able to get one. Does get traded out. That's going to be a big kill, coming in from Foolish. And now the big question is, do you plant or do you relax? And relaxing is going to be anything but what Foolish is going to do, as he was trying to find one player. Sniffed him out for a second, but still it's going to be a 2v3 deficit, and they've got complete control of Grandma's house. They just don't really know it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really tough because obviously the call out came that they are pushing A. You can see UBuffalo Esports has kind of surrounded the 2 Sacred Heart players. YJFK is going to pick up Dr. Doof, picks up Clickies as well. This tides have changed as it is now a 2v1 situation with Sacred Heart having the upper lead. Bomb has not gone down. They're still running out of time. You can see right now as Foolish is making that full A push, trying to get the bomb down. Now it's all up to N4 picking off things, and he does. He grabs one, the 1v1, but bomb is down, Rome.
That's the thing. Was able to pick off the one that was watching over. Wasn't able to pick off the one that was planting. So now he's going to have to find a way to defuse it. Oh, my goodness. Read it like a book, but Sacred Heart going to be holding strong, winning a big offensive round coming from the 2v3 deficit. That was absolutely massive.
That was really clean. Foolish doing the right things. Honestly, his teammate, I know they picked off the one that was watching while the bomb was being planted, but it gave Foolish enough time to get the bomb down and rotate to the other side of Grandma's house and just wait. He had the upper hand there the entire time. Let's see what UBuffalo can do on the offensive.
Yeah, I mean, listen, UBuffalo are going to need to answer back. They cannot go down 0-3 right now. Yes, they would have lost only 2 defenses, and that is a great way to start things out, as Doofenshmirtz does get first blood, but is going to get traded out, leaving this team in a 3v3 situation. Rigatoni has found his way toward the backside of A, and if he can win this big 1v back here, this is going to be massive. Does take in some damage and is going to win it anyway against Faded. That was a huge 1v1. That's the difference from having their back spawn control and having the bomb down in the back of their spawn completely controlled. And now Sacred Hearts are going to be dropping like flies, only going to be Foolish remaining. He is able to pick off one, making it a 1v2 situation. And now this is going to be a very winnable situation, even though the bomb does go down. Let's see exactly what Foolish is going to be able to do.
UBuffalo needed this moment. You were right. We did not want them to go down 0-3, but look at that shoulder peek from Foolish coming in as he's able to take out N4. That makes it that 1v1. He's got 27 seconds left. There's a little bit of time, so don't rush necessarily. We've got Rigatoni who is posted up just ready and waiting. I'm just really curious because Foolish has that 4 streak. So he kind of wants to hold on to that and let it build. And he's checking all angles right now. He does spot him out, but is unfortunately not going to be ready. UBuffalo taking a nice win here.
Yeah, solid right now. It's Rigatoni able to get that final kill. Beautiful shots. That player not going to be standing a chance whatsoever. Going to need to have way quicker reaction time. As, you know, easier said than done. That's all I got to say. I mean, last chance qualifier. This is the day where, you know, you're drinking all that G Fuel, whatever you need. You're getting ready. You're getting zoned in because, listen, every single round matters so much. And I mean, if we get to a 5-5 situation, I mean, all these rounds are just going to be so heartbreaking to look back on if you're on the losing end of it. I mean, right now, early push going to be coming out. Sacred Heart's getting first blood.
Yeah, Sacred Heart really needs to kind of answer back if they want to win this and bring it to a 1-1 map series. But Dr. Doofenshmirtz says, I'm going to take out Faded. They're going to tie it up now. As I say that, it's a 2v2 situation. But N4 says, make it 2v1. UBuffalo trying to make them come back and tie it up 2-2 here so far in the Search and Destroy. But look at this. It's going to be over. UBuffalo. Let's go. 2-2.
I mean, listen, this is exactly what this squad needed to do. They need to answer back in quick fashion. Like I said, they don't want to go down 0-3. They were able to stop that from happening, and then they answered back to tie things up. So UBuffalo able to get back a lot of the momentum that, honestly, Sacred Hearts are starting to feel. I mean, you know, they were getting a lot on their side winning those first 2 rounds. So big props to UBuffalo to answer back. But now, I mean, they find themselves back on this offensive end. What are they going to do again?
Yeah, Sacred Heart, I mean, look, let's be real. You started off so strong. We know you can do it. Just start putting things together because I feel like UBuffalo is beginning to read them look a book. And as I say that, Rigatoni just completely does not check his back in any way, shape, or form as he just walks in that door and leaves that first blood out for Sacred Heart. They now tied up 3v3. Bomb is down inside the building and someone's gonna have to get it.
Yeah, Faded is going to be able to pick up 1. Foolish is going to get another, leaving Doofenshmirtz in a 1v3. He's able to pick off 1. Now in a 1v2 situation, JFK and Foolish going to need to snuff out the Doctor, as the Doctor is going to be making his way through the tunnel and oh my God! JFK, you cannot be losing those, as the Dr. Doofenshmirtz just gave you a dose of doom.
I feel like, you know, Dr. Doofenshmirtz is working on his villain arc right now as he's just trying to hunt down Foolish at this point. But Foolish, coming off watching the bomb, tries to go on the aggression and go ahead and get that kill, is going to allow Dr. Doofenshmirtz a little bit of time. Unfortunately, he has not picked up the bomb just yet with 17 seconds remaining. This is going to probably be all they wrote, as Foolish is going to be able to read this. He is going to make that push for B, but you see Foolish come up from behind. All he has to do is peek and it's over.
Oh, man, Foolish is able to get it. And that's the thing. I mean, yeah, I had no choice, but, I mean, Foolish, you know, able to play it perfectly. And Foolish is going to be on a 3 streak. So, got to keep our eyes looking out for that, as Sacred Heart are able to answer back in beautiful fashion. I mean, here we go. I mean, this squad doing nice things right now, as we got ourselves a very even game of Search and Destroy. I like the way both of these teams are playing this.
Yeah, to be fair, though, Foolish went on a 4 streak, got killed. Now he's already on a 3 streak. I just feel like Foolish is really feeling himself in this Search and Destroy right now. Like, he is just like, I understand. Bocage is my map. I am going to take this dub right here as they move up 1 ahead of them. So they just got 3-2. They only need to get to 6. And if Sacred Heart can string a couple maps together, I think they're going to get this. Foolish going out for some information right there as the bomb is making its way towards A. Similar push to what we've seen in the past, but what is Rigatoni and N4 going to do?
Yeah, right now it's going to be a very dire situation because, in my opinion, Sacred Hearts are in great positions. But guess what? Dr. Doofenshmirtz is able to pick off one. He does get traded out, leaving Sacred Hearts in the 2v2 now. They're trying to snuff out Infor and Rigatoni, but guess what? They've got complete control of A. They're going to be able to get this bomb down. But, I mean, listen, this player in the back, Infor, might be coming in to try to ruin their parade. He's going to be checking this A bomb multiple times, but guess what? Fear's able to spot him. That's going to be a big kill coming in.
Was Fear just playing with his food right there? Obviously, the call came into Rigatoni to check A site, but now look, he went back to B site, and it's all they wrote. Sacred Heart Esports stringing another one together to bring it to 4-2 here on Search and Destroy. I genuinely think that Sacred Heart is going to take this Search and Destroy.
I mean, listen, right now, things are looking great for them, for sure. I mean, they're playing it smart. You saw them at the very end. They were playing those rotations. They said, you know what, we've got A, but guess what? We've just got a kill over here. Let's go ahead and rotate together, make sure that, we're good to go. Make sure we can pick up this rotational kill. Make sure I can watch over you and keep the enemy guessing, and that's exactly what Sacred Hearts are doing. So, I mean, Sacred Heart Esports doing a great job right now, and now they got to stop this squad from Buffalo coming in, trying to make this A push happen. And guess what? That's going to be a great first blood coming out of Sacred Heart yet again.
Yeah, they're playing it a little slower on the UBuffalo side right now, as I say that they just moved into the building and they are taking it over. Fear finds a nice two-piece, but Rigatoni answers back with a two-piece of their own, putting it in a 1v1 situation. It is Rigatoni versus Faded in this moment. We have plenty of time on the clock, 54 seconds remaining, and this is all just like a standstill. Who is going to move first? Faded is just looking for some nice information. He's got a good line of sight on the A bomb as well as the B bomb. So let's see, which way are we gonna go? Rigatoni, show us the sauce.
Rigatoni versus Faded. I mean, this is going to be a good one for sure. Oh, man, Rigatoni debating whether to put that bomb down or not, saying, you know what? Nope, I'm going to go ahead and rotate on over, clear out this tower, plant this bomb at B. But guess what? Oh, man, Faded might have sniffed this one out. It looks like he's going to, and yes, another beautiful play coming in. Faded winning that one. Sacred Heart Esports. I mean, listen, this squad right here, you stated it. I mean, they're getting a lot of momentum, looking very, very good right now in the search.
If it didn't work for Dr. Doof, what makes you think it's going to work for you, Rigatoni? That is 2 rounds that you basically just handed to Sacred Heart. Look at that. Faded making a perfect time to check that. Like, he wasn't giving anything up. There was 25 seconds left in the match. He knew it had to happen. And if Rigatoni did not push the A site, he's going to go to the B site, and Faded read that like a book. So yeah, if you're UBuffalo, you've got to change a little bit up right now because you are literally about to lose this.
Oh, yeah, big time. And that's the thing, is a lot of these matches have been a lot closer than people have, had early thoughts about. But, I mean, right? Oh, my goodness. What a shot coming in from Faded. Because that's going to be a huge offensive first blood for this Sacred Heart roster. My goodness. And now 3v3 situation, as that is going to be Fear dropping. But, I mean, regardless, the Sacred Heart Esports roster, they've done a great job of giving themselves great positioning on this A point. But guess what? Rigatoni is going to be in the back trying to spoil this beautiful, beautiful dish that Sacred Hearts are trying to cook up. Because right now they have a 2v3 deficit. Foolish was able to spot one. He's going to be tracking him down. He's going to be coming right behind to N4 to set up the play at B. And, I mean, this might be a very good situation for Sacred Heart for sure. They've got to play this right now from here on out.
I'm really shocked. We just had Foolish kill a member of UBuffalo, and not one person went from the UBuffalo Esports went over to check the B site. JFK has already rotated over to the B site to watch it as well. There's 20 seconds remaining. I don't think they're going to rotate over to A. So now this is on Rigatoni and Dr. Doof to go ahead and line up to check the B site because the bomb is going to have to go down. But Rigatoni turns around and pops JFK. Sacred Heart, you did not plant. This may be a UBuffalo round.
I mean, maybe, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be the case. Sacred Heart taking this one. I mean, 6-2, solid win coming out for this roster. They're going to be tying this series up 1 apiece. And now, I mean, headed to that Faded control where, I mean, realistically, both of these rosters have struggled on the year, each only picking up 2 wins apiece. So, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, this series can go either way from here on out. Both of these rosters have shown their strengths, and now it's all about who's going to have the least amount of weaknesses on this back half of this series.
The least amount of weaknesses indeed. We got the stats up for you. We just saw that last round go to Sacred Heart Esports as I was getting ready to say that UBuffalo might actually win a round here, but Foolish made me look foolish within 2 seconds as he completely popped off. So let's look at these stats. In particular, Foolish with that big 11-3. Even though JFK was a little bit in the negative, it didn't matter because Foolish made up for it. Pretty consistent on the lines of UBuffalo, but the damage alone from Foolish, 1,300. Rome, they killed it.
Yeah, I mean, that was really the Foolish show, and everyone else, just pretty much being a witness for it. I mean, listen, this is the difference between 4 digits and 3 digits, and he was the only player dropping 4 digits worth of damage on the map. So big shout out to Foolish. I mean, listen, this squad right here looking official in the search and destroy, and I want to see if they're going to be able to carry this one over to the control, simply because, I mean, let's be honest, both of these rosters, it's do or die. We want to see a map 5 point blank period. We want to see a round 11 in map 5. But listen, in order to get there, we first got to get through the control in map 3. So listen, we're going to take a very, very short break. We will be right back giving you guys more Call of Duty action. Hello and welcome back to the CCL Last Chance Qualifier Week 1. I'm Rome DMV, joined alongside Spider Tiff, and listen, we've got ourselves a series on our hands.
A series on our hands, indeed, as they have tied it up after that glorious victory on that Bocage Search and Destroy. It is now 1-1, but we did have a few map changes, so let's go ahead and bring up that map series to kind of get an overview of it now. UBuffalo took home the win in that Berlin hardpoint, 250-200, with Sacred Heart taking in 6-2 on that Bocage Search and Destroy. We are moving on to Tuscan Control. That has not changed, but let's go ahead and look at maps 4 and 5 for the day, should we go to that point. We got Bocage Hardpoint, and if Sacred Heart looked really good on that map, so they could also step it up and do great on the hardpoint there. And then we have Berlin Search and Destroy, which I fully expect Sacred Heart to do equally as well in Search and Destroy again, Rome.
Hey, well, listen, if they're able to repeat performances in Search like that, all they got to do is take one of the next 2 maps, and then they are going to be all smooth sailing in that game number 5. I mean, listen, last chance qualifier. We want to see things go the distance. We want to see teams pull out all the stops, everything that they've been practicing. It all comes down to this moment right here, and this is just round 1 of the last chance qualifier bracket. My goodness, we are in for some good Call of Duty in the next few weeks. This is just going to be a preview of what's to come. My goodness, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to get into this control on Tuscan. It is going to be so hype because this map right here is so important to the series, as you stated.
Definitely. And I want to touch really quickly. You did mention that this was the first round 1. Basically, whichever school comes out on top of this is going to move on to face University of Waterloo in round 2 to keep their dream alive of getting to the playoffs. But one of these teams is unfortunately going to go home and have the season ended after this matchup, which I really hate saying. But regardless, we are moving on to that Tuscan Control, and I feel as if whichever team takes this victory will possibly win the series. I feel like this is going to put it up. I know UBuffalo is really strong on Tuscan Control, but I equally know that Sacred Heart Esports went 2-3 against the Army West Point last week. So I'm really curious to see how this goes with Sacred Heart Esports jumping out on the offensive front here.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is since they are on the offensive, they're going to need to come out with a bang. You do not want to have a mediocre first offensive round. You really want to come out and show your stuff, and already they're putting a lot of pressure onto the B point. You can see you got a couple of players, Fear and Foolish, both over there, and guess what? They're making incredible plays, and I mean, it's going to take a lot of power from this UBuffalo squad to be able to clear them out. Finally, they are going to be able to do just that, but guess what? 1 tick progression already has come through at B. 1's already been secured at A as well, and now this squad in Sacred Heart, they're going to go right back over to A and, just try to clean this one up and get a bunch of time. And, I mean, already having that tick at B is massive.
We see that all the time when we get to look at Tuscan Control. If you can grab a little bit of time over on B at any point in time before you've capped A, that helps you get there so much quicker. Because I know that Sacred Heart, while they only have 18 lives left, there's not really a big life disparity between UBuffalo Esports and Sacred Heart. So I think if I want to see success on the offensive front, I want to see Faded and Foolish kind of team up and make their pushes together. Kind of split UBuffalo at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they did a great job of it to start things off. It's just the question of if they're going to be able to keep that pressure on. I mean, you can see they keep on sending players over toward B while capturing this A point. And I mean, A is almost done, but guess what? UBuffalo still holding on to this one. They're going to be sending this one back the other way. And now Sacred Heart are going to need to, they're going to need to send everybody over here. They're going to need to secure this, make sure they can lock this down because 25 seconds remaining. You don't want any foolishness to happen. Wink, wink. As Foolish right now is currently 1-6 on the map. Not the way that he wanted to start this one.
Not the way they wanted to start it, indeed, and I'm just really not sure what happened. Sacred Heart was looking really strong, but unfortunately, UBuffalo Esports coming in hot and holding down that A site just insanely. They're coming out of the mid-map and waiting for reinforcements, but you can see that player number 7, aka Dr. Doofenshmirtz, kind of was going on that flank rotation throughout Sacred Heart's spawn, and it really helped them. They were able to cap A, giving them 1 minute left to go ahead and finish off B, but they only have 6 lives remaining. So all UBuffalo needs to do is put up a solid defensive front. You got 2 players in church, 1 player watching the command center, and then you've got Rigatoni getting saucy in the back watching the flank.
Yeah, but you've already got Fear on the point, and right now they've got to get him off at this very moment. You can't let this second tick of progression go through. They are able to take Fear off, and now they're going to be able to clear this out. The last 3 lives going to be coming in from Sacred Heart. This is going to need to be a miracle on this side to make this offensive round go in their favor. I mean, this is UBuffalo's to lose at this point. They've got, 2 lives each remaining. They've just got to hold on for dear hope. 30 seconds remaining. This is going to be the final 3-man hit coming in from Sacred.
Coming in from Sacred, but you've got 2 UBuffalo players flanking the entire Sacred Heart Esports team, and that is going to be all they wrote. UBuffalo is going to take that first round victory on Tuscan Control. Let's go ahead and see what Dr. Doofenshmirtz can do to Foolish, making him look quite foolish. I think what basically happened there was, I know Sacred Heart was gearing up to make a really coordinated push onto the B site, but unfortunately they just kind of waited inside that command center for just a little bit too long. And UBuffalo is like, we're going to bring the fight to them, and they just got flanked.
Yeah, now I want to see what the plan is going to be for UBuffalo. All right, we see the plan. They're going to B, and they're doing it fast. They're saying, you know what, we're going to try and get some early time over here, and oh man, there's going to be a big engagement right here. Foolish is able to get 1, does get traded out immediately. 2 are going to be dropping on each side. So, I mean, right now, this squad in UBuffalo, they're doing a solid job of getting a lot of time right here. Are they going to be able to get this first tick of progression? It's almost come through completely, but no, Sacred Heart wiped them out and are going to be completely reverting this. That was huge.
That was really huge. The overtaking at B site was exactly what they needed to do. And you've got JFK and Foolish over there completely clearing it out. I know that UBuffalo decided, hey, we're going to make that strong A push after losing over at B, which is typical of what you see teams do. It's a lot easier to cap that A site. We all know that. But look at the lives remaining. They're still pretty close. We got 2 ticks of progression over at A for UBuffalo. They're capturing A a lot more quicker than Sacred Heart had done. But by this time, Sacred Heart had already had a tick of progression at B.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is they weren't ever really able to make anything happen at B because, they just didn't play their lives right. And right now, UBuffalo, they find themselves currently down by a couple of lives. I say that, but kill feed's starting to go in their favor right now. I mean, it's going to need to go a lot longer than that if they want to win this one. They do currently have that completed at A, so now it's just going to be all about B. They've got 2 minutes to do so. And I mean, you said that this squad is currently, looking pretty good simply because they gave themselves so much time. We just got to wait and see if they're going to be able to play their lives right because they're currently down 6.
Yeah, but at this point, I mean, can they make that? This is pretty standard, right? You've got 5 lives down on Sacred Heart, but we know that these players on Sacred Heart are great fraggers in the form of Fear, Faded, and Foolish. They are incredibly strong, and we've seen that happen. But JFK is also playing incredibly well, but they've got the upper hand here playing that defensive site on B. So we know we've got this nice setup, but look at Dr. Doofenshmirtz holding out on the very backside, trying to get some kills on the back line. But no person has really pushed into the B site yet. They're not even able to get a little bit of time in there, but now they're starting to see it. Clicky's making their move in. Dr. Doofenshmirtz trying to get some kills, but he turns to B too quickly, and JFK is going to catch him in the back, defeating the purpose of even trying to hold that back tank anyways.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you see where these players are going to be spawning out. That is forever and far in between this B point, and that means they're going to need to have a very good strategy to break this one as they currently are down by 6 lives. This is essentially going to be the last push coming out for this UBuffalo roster. As these lives have dwindled down to 6, Rigatoni, he's trying to slip and slide his way into the back. Oh my goodness, that was great movement. Able to pick off 1, able to pick off 2. This could have been the winning play, but no, he's going to get shut down in the back. 5 lives remaining, 27 seconds remaining on the clock, on the timer. Sacred Hearts, they are turning it into a meat grinder, and UBuffalo are walking right into it. Rigatoni and Clickies, they are going to be the last 2 remaining. 20 seconds left. They are not going to be able to get on this one whatsoever. And I mean, Sacred Heart answering right back, tying things up 1-1. The defense holding strong.
Holding strong indeed. So I guess the tides are going to turn when one of these schools is going to win an offensive round, as Clickies is just trying to finesse this player as hard as possible. And he's going to go ahead and get that kill. Sacred Heart Esports is going to take the dub here so far. So 2 defensive win rounds for both of these schools. Let's see how this goes. We need to see something different because now we know basically that we've seen 1 offensive push from each of these schools. We know both of them have failed, and they're just gonna have to change some things up. We saw Sacred Heart Esports get a tick of progression on B their first attempts, but I'm curious if they're gonna try it again.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, right here, right now, the big question is if this does go to an overtime, at least for now, you know, you got to remember that this side in Sacred Heart, they were able to get that tick progression at B, so that might come into their favor later on in this map. You know, if we get to that 2-2 situation, you know, that defensive side, oh so coveted, might be theirs for the taking.
Well, this is already looking way better. Sacred Heart Esports on their offensive run, second try, 27 lives remaining. They've already gotten A down, and they have over 2 minutes. So now we're looking at getting that coveted B site, which is so defensive favored. How are you going to make a coordinated push onto this site? You have to kill UBuffalo Esports on the rotation because they're going to spawn so fast down there on that backside tank. But look at UBuffalo. They're lighting up the kill feed right now and making it almost impossible for Sacred Heart to even get near the site. They cannot get through mid-map. And as I say that, Fear is making a play for B. He is the first Sacred Heart player to touch it.
Yeah, and that's going to be big for this squad for sure. Now the question is, can you play your life? No. 2 players are going to be dropping down. JFK trying to do what he can right now, but guess what? He's going to be the closest one to do anything over at B. And really, UBuffalo, I mean, they're currently down by 3 lives, but they are set up pretty well to be able to lock this one down the rest of the way. Only 1:20 remaining for this Sacred Heart Esports roster to be able to make a play happen. Foolish is going to be making his way to the back, getting control of this back tank area. And now, I mean, Rigatoni a little bit far behind, so that means Foolish might be able to actually get some good time here, but that's the thing. Rigatoni is going to be able to come in, picks off 1, does get traded out. Up top, Faded, picking up the big kill. That's going to be absolutely massive. Sacred Heart's trying to do something. Dr. Doofenshmirtz trying to shut them down, though, is going to be on a 5 spree of his own. Looking to lock up. This top area is going to be dropping down into the mid, trying to be a sneaky beaver. Wins another one, is going to get a little bit of streaks. Just 1 on his back pocket, but still, that is going to be massive for sure, as Foolish is going to be coming in. He's going to be able to pick up 1 in the church. It is a 4-kill deficit still on the side of UBuffalo, as Sacred Esports doing a great job on the offensive side right now.
This is going to be an incredibly solid push for Sacred Heart Esports right here. Can they hold UBuffalo Esports in the back of their spawn? I love that the 2 players are coming in from church, but I mean, when it comes to the reinforcements for Sacred Heart Esports, it's incredibly tough for them to get there, with Dr. Doofenshmirtz lurking mid-map, trying to make sure that he overextends and works that entire area to prevent reinforcements from Sacred Heart. But you've got Foolish, who is doing his best to live right there. They do have that 1 tick of progression, 8 lives remaining, but time is not on their side right now as the entirety of Sacred Heart Esports is making that mid-map rotation. It's going to rely on Fear right now. He needs to go ahead and get in there and lock it down, waiting for the reinforcements to come. Unfortunately, you got Dr. Doofenshmirtz wreaking havoc and not letting the other teammates get there in time. But look at JFK.
JFK is going to need to go big, and that's going to be a big kill for sure. JFK is needing to stay alive. They only have 2 more kills left to get on the map. I mean, right here, Sacred Hearts, they can do it. They can lock this down on the offensive end. Only 1 remaining. That's going to be Clicky's. Clicky's going to need to win the 1v3. Is able to get 1. You got to pick off 2 more. Plenty of time left. 4.2 seconds, is able to spot 1. Picks him off. Now it's going to be down to a 1v1. You got to touch the point within 1 second. Are you going to be able to get on it? No! Clicky's clutching it up for UBuffalo. The defense holds strong. My goodness, Sacred Hearts just had that win pulled out like a rug.
I am completely speechless, Rome. Like, that would have been the turning tide for Sacred Heart Esports to take that offensive win. But how can you do that when Clickies has turned into an actual demon? I can't even believe it. He was just living his best life over on that B side and said, not today. Maybe they can carry that momentum forward and take the first offensive win in this series.
I mean, listen, I thought that was definitely going to be the first offensive win in this series, but I mean, I don't know. Clicky's had other plans in mind, and oh man, talk about the clutches. That's a beautiful 1v3. I mean, some people might say, oh, you only killed 2 people. Listen, that's a 1v3 clutch if you ask me. I'm sorry. That was absolutely big, massive plays coming out on the defensive side. Because my goodness, if they would have been down heading into this round, I mean, that would have been absolutely devastating for this UBuffalo roster. But now it's going to be Dr. Doofenshmirtz and UBuffalo trying to make something happen now on this offensive end. And that's the thing is now, you know, they're on the offensive side, so they're going to be feeling absolutely wonderful, you know, about this round. This is essentially a round they can play with. They could do what they want. They could try things, see if it works, and they're currently up by 3 lives.
Up by 3 lives indeed, and they just had a nice full team wipe up at the A site, which should enable them to go ahead and clear that out right now. Just a couple ticks remaining. That is it. A site secured, 150 left on the clock. So now we're beginning that inevitable journey over to capture B. We have not seen it captured yet today, and I'm curious to see if UBuffalo Esports can make it happen here. Dr. Doofenshmirtz is going to be found out in the back of Tank. And now, here we go. They're all coming in through command center. We got N4 has touched the B site. Player number 6 overextended to go ahead and watch the flank. I hope he positions himself really well right here. But then you see the Sacred Heart Esports players are spawning just above Church. And he's waiting. Gonna win a nice 1v1 right there. But unfortunately, 2 players are gonna come in on the back end and just completely clear it out. It's gonna be a nice reset as UBuffalo is working through mid-map.
Yeah, the thing is, the UBuffalo, they are currently, oh my goodness, that's huge. That's 2 kills dropping. Now they've got double the lives remaining. UBuffalo on this offensive round, this is the exact same situation. Don't throw it away. You've got more lives remaining. You've just got to play time at this point. Oh my goodness, right now UBuffalo have every opportunity to clutch up and win this, but look at the kill feed. It's going all red, turning so bloody just like that. What is happening? Oh my goodness, this push right here coming in from UBuffalo is going to be everything.
This is going to make or break this round for UBuffalo, as you see this nice jump spot here by N4 trying to come behind the Sacred Heart Esports, and it's going to be successful. But now look at this, we got player number 6 down there on the B site winning the fights in the area. He's just gonna have to wait for his teammates to get over there, but there's only 4 lives remaining for Sacred Heart Esports. This is where it's getting incredibly close. We saw it happen last round go in favor of UBuffalo, but can Sacred Heart pull this off?
I mean, let's find out right now. 2 lives remaining, make it 1 left. Oh my goodness. UBuffalo have done it on the offensive side of things, able to finally win a round on the offense. And guess what? It's going to be one that matters the most, because that is going to be the nail in the coffin to go up 2-1 in the series. That is how you get momentum back on your side.
That is definitely exactly what UBuffalo needed to do. They just strung 2 maps together here on Control, and that is going to almost be the moment where it is victorious. Can we just say say that UBuffalo Esports is doing fantastic here. They are doing absolutely everything that needs to happen to make this series and advance just to round 2 in the last chance qualifiers here. Let's go ahead and take a look at these nice stats, Rome.
I mean, honestly, looking across the board, both of these rosters were putting in absolute work. But, I mean, really the standout players got to be Doofenshmirtz and Clickies. I mean, Clickies was able to win that huge 1v3 at the end to keep that defensive momentum in their favor. And, I mean, listen, if Clickies wouldn't have won that situation, guess what? We're sitting at a 2-2 heading to overtime. And, I mean, that's going to be one that this squad in UBuffalo would be looking back on and saying that's a missed opportunity. But, no, Clickies was able to clutch it up for this roster. Clickie's definitely going to be getting my MVP vote for this map right here.
You heard it, chat. MVP Clickies for UBuffalo Esports in order to make sure that they come ahead in this series. So, now that UBuffalo Esports has taken the lead in 2-1 against Sacred Heart Esports, we are going to be moving to map number 4, which is Bocage Hardpoint, which we saw Sacred Heart Esports do so well on Bocage and Search and Destroy, but that Berlin hardpoint was a little lackluster for them. So this could be the final nail in the coffin, as you said, and UBuffalo Esports could take the dub here.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, right here, things are going to get hot and heavy real quick. I mean, listen, Bocage, it's going to get very fast-paced. These players already playing at an extremely fast pace, so I think they are definitely ready for the madness that we are about to witness right now. I mean, honestly, overall, when you look at this series so far and how it's played out, I mean, University of Buffalo, they have absolutely turned this one around. I feel like we've seen constant momentum shifts coming in. First, UBuffalo had it at the start of the first hard point, and then, I mean, realistically, Sacred Heart stole that momentum back toward the end of that one, you know, making them draw those final few points out for about 3 hills. And then, you know, this squad in Sacred Heart was able to win that Search and Destroy in dominating fashion, and then finally UBuffalo able to win that offensive round of the control to find themselves up 2-1 in the series. I mean, the way this one's played out, it's been a bunch of momentum shifts. Let's see if this hard point on Bocage is going to be another situation just like that.
Yeah, I mean, can Sacred Heart Esports answer back to what UBuffalo Esports just did to them on Control for Tuscan? I mean, the thing is, if they bounce back and forth like a ping pong match at this point, if they're just riding the waves of the momentum, then in that case, Sacred Heart Esports should come out on top. However, if UBuffalo realized what they just did, essentially on that Tuscan Control, especially with that epic play from Clickies, like, that's going down. That will have won them the series, in my personal opinion. I did say it here. I said whoever wins Tuscan Control is going to take the series. And UBuffalo won it. So if they win it here and they take the series, I'm just out here manifesting, Rome.
Hey, listen, manifesting everything left, right, and center. Let's see if that's going to be the case. I mean, this squad definitely going to be looking to, you know, start this one out with a bang, as right now Sacred Heart's going to be the first one on the point, but they're going to be shut down pretty quickly by UBuffalo, who are going to be able to answer right back. And 4 is going to be controlling up top, and now going to be dropping down, just trying to pick up kills left, right, and center, and they're able to do that in incredible fashion. N4 is playing this map so well in this early point. But still, I mean, we got ourselves a very tight game.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we haven't really gotten to see too much from N4 throughout this series yet. So for them to go ahead and shine really brightly here on the Bocage hardpoint would be beautiful. But I mean, with Courtyard being that first hill, it's always one of those hills that is very touch and go. No team really walks away with a majority of the points from it. As you can see, pretty split down the even. So what I'm looking towards is that rotation over to P2 by the tanks. This is one of those hills that you can get in and hold if you set up properly for it. You've got players number 2 and 4 on UBuffalo already trying to anchor the spawns, but look at Fear with that nice flank over there, and they're gonna get the spawns for Sacred Heart Esports. This is a great setup moving into 2.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, listen, P1 is just going to be all about, you know, really just trying to keep things even. It's really going to be all about getting these early rotations, and that's exactly what Sacred Hearts are able to do. Rigatoni, though, is able to get the big kill that should be able to flip these spawns into the favor of UBuffalo. Oh my goodness, timing. Is Rigatoni barely able to miss one. He is able to turn the corner, find one in the bottom of the barn. He's going to start to rotate toward the back, but Faded is going to be able to spot Rigatoni out. And now, Faded just trying to lock down up top barn, just keep anyone coming over to this swamp in peril. And I mean, right now, these squads are going back and forth, but UBuffalo were able to hold down these spawns completely ever since they took them over.
Yeah, UBuffalo did a really great job of flipping the spawns and holding out the rest of P2 over by tanks. Their setup was incredibly well, but look at the rotation. Sacred Heart won that rotation. This is a completely different team on hardpoint than what we saw when we were watching these two teams play out on that Berlin hardpoint. It's already so much closer as UBuffalo finds a nasty three-piece inside of Grandma's house and takes over the control.
Yeah, I mean, yet again, just another situation where this squad is doing incredible things. Clicky's able to get 2. Rigatoni's able to answer back with a couple of his own. Currently going to be on a 4 streak. And that is going to be massive for this squad. And UBuffalo, I mean, they are trying to really pick up the pace. I mean, that's the thing is, in that first hardpoint that we saw, it was UBuffalo getting off to the hot start. And then Sacred Heart Esports really able to come back toward the end of things and really starting to get it clicking. And what I want to see is this Sacred Heart Esports roster going to be able to get hot earlier to compete with this UBuffalo roster? Because, I mean, if that happens, this could be a very, very spicy map.
A spicy map indeed. That was a nasty break by UBuffalo Esports inside of Grandma's house, but there was only 12 seconds remaining. So sure, they got that scrap time, but look at the kill feed. It is all UBuffalo Esports today. Sacred Heart had that early rotation, but it seems like they're just not able to hold it. You've got Rigatoni holding that mid-map rotational lines, but unfortunately is gonna get cut down by JFK. But they're holding this entire hill and kind of turning it into a money hill. They've got spawns, so even if Sacred Heart can make that break, as long as they win their ones, they should be able to hold this for the duration. 20 seconds left. Yeah, still 60 points up.
Yeah, big time. And right now I got my eyes on JFK, currently 4 and 15, triple negative. That's not going to be cutting it in any hard point whatsoever, especially in the cage where things are getting greasy. And right now, UBuffalo, they are thriving in this grease pot as it is absolutely annihilation on this side. Every single player is positive on the side of UBuffalo. And I mean, this is the thing, is that anytime the roster starts to get hot, it can get carried out of hand very, very quickly. So that's the thing that Sacred Heart cannot let happen, because I feel like that's exactly what happened in map 1, and it got a little bit too out of reach for them to come back. So let's see if this is going to be the same song here.
I love this position here by Dr. Doofenshmirtz. He always finds himself in the back line with that automaton just frying through any kind of rotations. We got someone over here challenging him, and that's going to be, oh, it is all they wrote for Foolish. Probably feeling really foolish, trying to overextend past the point to really get that thorn in their side out of there. It's just not going to be enough. UBuffalo Esports going to hold down the fort here, but Faded trying to make a break come through and happen. It's just not going to be enough. We need to start looking towards that rotation over to Courtyard, because if you're Sacred Heart Esports and you're down by 70, you're going to have to turn it around starting here.
Oh, big time. I mean, right now is going to be the turning point for sure. I mean, heading back to this second rotation, I mean, this is what we stated, is that second rotation in the first hard point was really where Sacred Heart started to come alive. But right now, sensitivity a little bit low, but it's all good. It's Faded. Going to need to pick up one, is able to pick up the second as well. Sacred Heart doing a great job of, you know, locking down these rotations. As you can see already, they're playing for spawns of P2. They're not worried about, you know, this P1 time so much. They just want to make sure they're locking this one down, ready for the next hill.
Yeah, and every time we go about locking it down for Sacred Heart, there's Dr. Doofenshmirtz just pulling some kind of chaos that is really preventing anything that Sacred Heart Esports is trying to do. And on that first hard point, we saw Sacred Heart have the majority of the kills, but it wasn't the kills that mattered. You needed to get on the hill and have the correct kills and make sure you're getting that well-needed time. We got 13 seconds left on the Courtyard. Sure, soak it up. You see UBuffalo playing for the spawns now because they have the ability to do so. They want to lock down that P2 over by tanks.
I mean, right now they've absolutely lost the spawns. This is what I'm saying. Sacred Heart, they did a great job of playing for the spawns, but there was still so much time remaining on P1 that UBuffalo were just able to absolutely, you know, surgically slay them out, figure out how to retake these spawns, and then by the time that hill popped, guess what? UBuffalo are the ones that now have the spawn. So, I mean, really, if Sacred Heart are going to be rotating that early, playing that hard for it, they've got to make sure that they don't give it up, because giving it up is just absolutely tragic. There's really no other sentence for it, because that means you're committing time and resources to something that just don't come through, and that is what you cannot afford to do when you're currently down by 80.
Down by 80, 20 seconds left here on Hill 2. UBuffalo Esports is turning this into an absolute money hill for them. Can JFK answer back? He does find a kill in there, but look at 2 and 4. Players 2 and 4 for UBuffalo just completely anchored it down. They're collecting all the scrap time. Sacred Heart has the rotation. JFK's trying to anchor the spawns right now, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. They actually timed this setup for Grandma's house a lot better than the previous hill. And you know what? Look at it. They're actually getting some time here, but UBuffalo coming in for the break.
Yeah, yet again, the squad in UBuffalo doing a great job locking this one down. Oh man, Clicky's able to win that big 1v in the back. Doofenshmirtz able to take out JFK. They're wondering who did it. It was the doctor. Right now, this is exactly what the doctor prescribed, because guess what? UBuffalo, they are locking this one down. 80-point advantage. Nobody's coming in Grandma's house except for JFK. My goodness, as he's able to pick up 2. That's going to be huge for the Sacred Heart Esports roster, but guess what? They're going to need to hold on to dear life, and I don't know if they're built for it. My goodness, every time they're able to get control, it's UBuffalo bursting through the doors, keep on contesting. My goodness.
See, the issue is you get to the point where Sacred Heart Esports literally is fighting for their life coming down to the final 50 points. It's like, where was this fight during the first set of rotations? Sure, they kept it a lot closer. It was never a 100+ point game here on the Bocage, but Dr. Doofenshmirtz just doing absolute work with that automaton, trying to prevent anyone from remotely getting close to Barn. They're going to lock it down. They're not going to be able to win here, but if you guys remember, if UBuffalo Esports takes this dub, they're taking the series and they're advancing on in the last chance qualifier. So Sacred Heart Esports, you're gonna have to wake up.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, Sacred Heart, do or die, now or never. You can't let 35 more points go the way of UBuffalo, or else that is your season. You can kiss it goodbye. UBuffalo, they can smell the advancing right now. They can smell it. It's right there in their grasp. Only 30 points away from this roster to be able to do, I mean, really what a lot of people thought they would be able to do coming into today is advancing on. But guess what? Sacred Heart, they have provided a fight. They have been fighting back tooth and nail, but it looks like UBuffalo just might be able to get the better of them. 23 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and UBuffalo's already made the rotation. They are holding down the river like they know exactly what they need to do. 15 points remaining for them to take the win here on the Bocage hardpoint and take the win in the series. But let's see what Sacred Heart can do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what you can do when you got Rigatoni, who's 36 and 21. You got Dr. Doofenshmirtz, who's 34 and 16. I mean, that is just a recipe for disaster if you're going against them. And UBuffalo gonna make you pay with a 3-1 series win. Beautiful, beautiful stuff as they advance after week 1 of the Last Chance qualifier.
Last Chance qualifier, week 1. Getting kind of spicy, Rome. Let's go ahead and look at these stats where we've got it. It came down to the hardpoint Bocage being 250 to 118. Unfortunately, Sacred Heart was not able to hold on. Actually, that Berlin hardpoint ended up being a lot closer than the Bocage hardpoint, which I actually didn't think that would happen. You're right. Dr. Doofenshmirtz, 34 and 16 with 18 seconds on the hill. He did his job incredibly well. We always found Dr. Doof in the back of the map, anchoring spawns, killing all the people on rotation. How could you even try to fight on the hill when you're going up Dr. Doofenshmirtz and his crazy automaton skills?
Yeah, Dr. Doof was definitely putting in work, but I mean, it wasn't just him as well. I mean, look at Rigatoni with 3,900 damage of his own. I mean, listen, both of these players absolutely putting in work for this UBuffalo roster. So I'm not really surprised that they were able to win it 250 to 118. They were really able to start to get that locomotive going. And, once those guns started to get hot, all these players so talented. I mean, Dr. Doof, Rigatoni, I don't really know who to give the MVP to for this series overall. I mean, listen, Dr. Doof, I saw you itching on the door. I might have to give it to the doctor. I don't know.
I don't know, because then we've got Clickies that came so preferential there in that Tuscan control, which completely won that round for them, that really turned the series around. So, I mean, let's be real. They live to fight another day and are moving on to that round 2 in Last Chance qualifier. I believe it's up against the University of Waterloo, so we'll see how that goes for them.
Hey, well, listen, we just got to wait and find out. But listen, shout out to UBuffalo for putting on a great show. That's all I got to say. I mean, this was a great series overall. I mean, I believe that we've got the series recap overall as a whole to show you guys. Let's go ahead and bring that up right here, right now. It went 4 games. Yes, we like seeing things go the distance, but guess what? That is not going to be the case here tonight as UBuffalo ended in 3.
Ended in 3. Let's go ahead and go with a nice recap. That first hard point on Berlin was something to be said, as UBuffalo Esports started off strong, made it that early 100-point game, and then just completely ended it for Sacred Heart Esports. Sacred Heart Esports did warm up on the second half of those rotations, but unfortunately it just wasn't good enough. They carried that momentum forward, got a nice, very commanding win in the search and destroy on Bocage, but after that it was all UBuffalo Esports as they began stringing some really commanding wins together, and that's going to go up in the series. Congrats UBuffalo Esports, and thank you to all the players who just played it out. Y'all did fantastic.
Oh, yeah, they did absolutely incredible. Put on a great show. But listen, the show is not over yet. We are going to be right back here on the desk after this very, very short break for another incredible matchup in the CCL Last Chance Qualifier.